Good evening, everyone, and welcome tonight to day 523, July the 31st, 2023. It is 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:01 California, 4:01 a.m. in Kyiv, all over Ukraine. They're all in the same time zone, and Moscow. And I can tell you right now, Moscow is dinging right this second. Thank you for being here. We'll jump to that right now, live. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to support, to like, to share, to comment, tell others. Had some guys on Twitter over the weekend give a lot of boosts to the stream. I woke up and all of a sudden I saw the stream and my information shared with boost. So all of you guys out there on Twitter, or I guess that's now called X, whatever it is, I don't care, XYZ, just thank you for helping to get the information out. So appreciate all that you guys do. Couldn't do it without you. So right now, I'm going to rearrange the stream order a little bit. Let me say some hellos first. Linda Cassio, Greenville, PA, welcome to you. We've got a Slava Ukraina coming in from Rick Berry, Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Mark McLaren coming in from across the pond. Welcome to you, my friend. Appreciate all of your help. Mark's always sending me information. Deeply appreciated. JDO, one of our moderators. Carrie Dyer, I know you're out there in Nevada. Legendary Meningers in the house tonight. So thank you. Yeah, that's exactly right. We'll talk a little bit about Africa tonight, but it's a mess. It's a mess, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, to be quite honest with you. So here we go. Right now, Moscow being hit by drones from Kyiv. So this is 9:03 p.m. Eastern, 4:03 a.m. in Moscow. I'll give you this. This is just a little while ago. Here, I can talk over it. So this is 3:14 a.m., 45 minutes ago. Just listen. There, air defense going off. And you may say, well, how do you know the difference between air defense and incoming? Because I've spent a lot of time under both there in Ukraine. Now, here's an outside image 45 minutes ago in Moscow. You can see the smoke rising there. And yes, that is downtown Moscow. So this actually goes right along with the theme that we're talking tonight. So that's fresh and hot off the presses. Moscow being hit by Ukrainian drones within the last 45 minutes. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So we'll get to that in just a moment. Last 48 hours, what has unfolded? An incredible amount. In fact, Ukraine is saying that over the past 48 hours, it has been the most intense battles since the war began, bar none. That's a serious statement coming from Kyiv. We know over the weekend, Ukraine hitting Moscow, hitting downtown Moscow, and we've hit them again. I'm going to give you details on that in just a moment, what Ukraine hit. And now we're seeing that Moscow being hit again 3 times in like the last 4 days. Great air defense there, Moscow. I mean, a few drones. Come on. That's a topic for a different day. So over the last 48 hours, Russia has unleashed massive attacks on Ukraine. They have struck Sumy. I'm going to give you details on that in just a few minutes. 2 people have been killed. About 2 hours ago, to the right of that at the top, they hit Kharkiv. 3 drone attacks right downtown Kharkiv. I'm going to show you that in a moment. Black line, or the black arrow on the right, the northeast up towards Kupiansk. This is where Russia is making their most aggressive push. Rotating down, Zaporizhia was hit downtown. That's where we typically stay, right downtown at the central square. and 2 were killed in Zaporizhia. The blue arrow, Ukraine making their biggest push just south of Zaporizhia, and we'll look at that on the map in just a second. Additionally, to the left, Kryvyi Rih, going to give you details about that in video. It is now up to 6 that have been killed. Also, please be reminded, Kryvyi Rih is the home city of President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Additionally, down to the bottom, Kherson, hit today, 2 people killed downtown. So it's nonstop what Russia is doing. These are Iskanders and S-300s and drones that have done all of this. As far as Moscow, they're being hit. There was other talk over the last few days of some hits in Tangarong and other places in Moscow, in Russia. Those have been validated to be actually misfires from Russia. It's proven. But the strikes in Moscow, 100% are Ukraine. Mark McLaren, that topic right there we're going to talk about. It's about time Russian civilians tasted a small amount of the fear Ukrainians face daily. Very good point there, Baldo. China supplies North Korea with weapons. Always been the case. So effectively, Russia has been buying weapons from China just through the third party. And we know that after Shoigu meeting with Kim Jong-un over the last weekend and spending their 3 or 4 days together in 1959 Soviet Union era, Brezhnev-Khrushchev world, more supplies are coming to Russia from North Korea, which means, as Baldo says, they're basically coming from China. So you guys talking about that in the chat, you guys are spot on. Now, title of the program tonight, Day 523, Putin and Zelenskyy, War in Ukraine, Tactical Adjustment. And it really is a tactical adjustment. Putin himself talking about that they would actually be opening to find a way to end the war, but now Ukraine is attacking Russia. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Here it is, a little bit of Putin. You know, it's a difficult time right now. I'm translating him. How can we find an end to the war? Because they're attacking us now. You know, so strategically, what can we do with this? Because there's no way to end it now because they're attacking us. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what he was saying. He also talked about the grain deal has nothing to do with the war. He talked about the grain deal having nothing to do with the war. He talked about right there in the video clip I'm showing you that, hey, we can't stop the war now. Ukraine's attacking us. Now we have to defend our homeland. And then he also talked about how after the Africa-Russia summit in St. Petersburg, there's beautiful future together as the African nations and Russia will work together for a better world. So back to this. Zelenskyy reiterating, sorry, you've invaded our homeland. We're not stopping. We want 1991 borders plus security, plus Crimea, plus entrance into NATO, EU, and a bright future. And Putin now saying, well, you're attacking us, so the war's not going to end. We know that, guys. It's not going to end. It's not going to end. Let's go here. Now, this is not the attack I just showed you from 45 minutes ago. This is the attack from yesterday. What did Ukraine hit in Moscow? They hit the Ministry of Digital Development. You may ask tonight, well, what is that? Well, it's right downtown, number one. They hit the 6th and the 7th floor of the Ministry of Digital Development. You've got it. It's a part of the propaganda ministry, the digital development ministry of Russia. Ukraine hit it. You know, I really have a question. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Moscow. I know that I have many, many times. I know that Larry and Debbie that are usually in here, been to Moscow many times. I know that Don Gentilini, probably, who's in here a lot, been to Moscow. If any of you have been to Moscow, maybe say so in the chat. I can't even begin to describe to you folks how big Moscow is. And I know I've been in plenty of big cities. I've been in probably one of the top in the world in Karachi, Pakistan. A lot of time there, 28 million people. But the city, there's Tim Ryder. I've been to Moscow. So Tim, you know, it's massive. Massive. It's built on the rings. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let me go here. And I'm going to show you something in a minute, but let's go up to Moscow a second. You'll be able to see it from space. There. That's what I want you to see right there. Okay. So you see the circles? So Moscow is built on a ring. So basically when Moscow was built, much like Washington, D.C., with the wheel and spokes, it's the way the capital city was designed. Same way, of course, Moscow designed before Washington is designed. So you have the heart of Moscow, and then it reaches out, and you have, they call them ring roads. So you have 1, 2, 3, and yes, you can move all the way out into the region and go out to the right ring. That's Moscow. How on earth these drones are getting downtown? They must have no air defense there. And I know they have, shown off and they put their air defense up on top of the skyscrapers. Come on. There's no cruise missiles flying. There's no Kinjals flying, hypersonics flying. You've got a few drones, and they're hitting not outskirts, not out here in the southern ring. They're hitting right here. They're hitting right here. And here's the thing, guys. For those of you that do not know this, I'll give you a little bit of Moscow right now. You see the circle there, the ring. Okay. If you go to the bullseye, right in the middle, do you know what's right in the middle? You guessed it. The Kremlin. I don't know if I can get a street view here if I keep going down. There. Ooh, let's go, baby. There's GUM shopping. You can see right up there at the top. GUM, very famous. There's St. Basil's Cathedral. There's the Kremlin. There's Lenin's Mausoleum. There's the Historical Museum. These lanes are here because this is where the tanks parade. There's no traffic there unless the parades are happening. And this, friends, is right in the center of that city. Come back out. Just come right out. Yeah, that Google Maps is the bomb. And you see, I brought you right to the center of Moscow. So how on earth are they doing that? Oh my goodness. Well, this is what was hit 24 hours ago, not 1 hour ago. I'm going to show a couple of videos. This is the attacks from the 30th here. This is downtown Moscow. Somebody was driving with their car cam. 4:15 in the morning. Here's a guy screaming about a Sputnik. You can hear the drone. Listen. Just trying to catch it. There were multiples. He said, this was hit out of the air. Hit out of the air. Sputnik. Sputnik. I'm going to show you one more. And before I show you this one, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. Somebody had put in the chat, it's time for Russian civilians to feel what Ukrainian civilians are feeling. And I agree with that completely. The tragedy of this is that people, whether they're Russian, Ukrainian, people from Sudan, wherever there's trouble in the world right now, Niger. It's good people that are devastated, that have nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with the war. And it's very sad. So I'm going to show you this video here, but you just hear some children. They're facing now what Ukrainian children face. You can hear it.
Прямо около нас встречают беспилотник в соседнее здание. Молодцы все средние. Бомбят.
It's stupid. It's terrible. You know, I hate that for any children, but that's what's happening. That's what happened in Moscow. You could hear the drone coming overhead. You saw the young guys go out there to get some film on their phones. You also could see how beautiful Moscow is. You know, when people talk about, oh, Russia's so backwards, you know, you get out into Siberia, you get out into Eastern Russia, it's so massive. Yes, a lot of those infrastructures are destroyed and forgotten. But I will tell you, Moscow, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. You know, Kyiv is as well, Kharkiv. These are just beautiful cities that are at war now. And it's very, very, very bad situation. Now, back to the Putin-Zelenskyy. So here are 3 pictures from the damage from the strike at the Office of Digital Development. There's 1 picture. There's a 2nd picture. And there's a 3rd picture. So Vladimir Putin comes out and says, well, you're hitting us. Now our people will see personally what you are doing, and the morale of the war will increase against you. Logical. To be quite honest, think about yourself. If your nation was in a war and all of a sudden your territory started to get hit and you were on the fence going, well, it is my nation, but I really don't agree with what my nation is doing. I've got family down there in Ukraine, or I have family in this nation. Then all of a sudden you're starting to get hit. You get punched in the mouth. It may change your perspective. That is why, no proof on this, but folks, I just don't see how the drones are hitting Moscow like 3 out of the last 4 days. You may say, well, do you think they would let it happen? 100% I do. I just do. It's exactly what Putin wants. Election coming. I'm the savior president. We got to rally together. See, they are the villains. They're coming after us. Those drones should have been taken down. Pretty easily. And for them not to, it just makes me wonder. Doesn't matter. Putin's going to use it to his advantage. Additionally, I have Zelenskyy here saying the same thing. Zelenskyy saying, hey, now you're getting a taste of what we're feeling every day. I agree with that 1,000,000%. No problem. You punch us in the face, Ukraine should be able to punch back. That's the way it is. I support that 1,000,000%. Foreign nations such as the United States should not be limiting, saying you can only strike the enemy on your sovereign territory. No, they're punching us, we'll punch them back. That's the way a war is. Agree with that. But I believe that Vladimir Putin, the Russian military, and the propaganda department are going to use this to their full advantage. Whether they let it happen or there is no air defense. Either way, I'm telling you. So you realize if those drones are getting through like that, what could a Storm Shadow missile do? I mean, if you can't stop a drone that's flying 100 miles an hour, you're not stopping a Storm Shadow. They can hit anywhere they want to. So it's just, You remember when the Kremlin was hit day whatever 100 days ago, and everybody's all excited, and I showed you the video. You could see the guys climbing up on the roof. I'm telling you, they do goofy things to build morale. Regardless, we'll see. We'll see. Greg, it's a long night. Sorry, bud. Ansi drop. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. All right. Chungar Bridge hit again. You may ask, where's the Chungar Bridge? So this is the bridge also that can connect Ukrainian mainland. We'll leave Moscow now and we'll fly down here. I got to really... Oh, I got rotated. Holy moly. How do you rotate Google Earth? Oh, you do it like that, like a basketball. Here we go. I got spun around looking at the red square there. Okay, here we go. Ukraine right here. Chungar Bridge is right here. Chungar. This is the E105, and it's this bridge right here. You may look at that and go, are you talking about that little teeny bridge? Yes, I am. It's one of two. That's it. That connects Ukrainian mainland to Crimea. So on the left here, you see the Kherson Oblast. On the right, you see the beginning of Crimea. And that bridge has been hit again. It is not destroyed. That is access down into Crimea. The only other bridge is coming out of Kherson and drops down from this region. So Chungar Bridge is hit again. Ukraine getting it done. We talk about the Chungar Bridge. Let's go talk about the Kerch Bridge right here. Right here. So Chungar right here connects Ukrainian mainland to Crimea. And then the Kerch Bridge, you guys know well, on the Kerch Strait connects Crimea to the Russian mainland. Ukraine hit it a couple of weeks ago, but I can tell you repairs are going on. I've got video of that. So you'll notice people working on the bridge. You'll also notice that there is traffic going on one side. So half the bridge is working and traffic is going. So here's a little bit of Kerch Bridge today. Of course, this tells you the train is working too. See the cars moving, the damaged portion. All the supplies there, the cranes. So we'll see. It's supposed to be reopened for fully by November 15th, but it's already open. I mean, they're moving. It needs to be destroyed. The rail is what needs to be destroyed. So that's the Kerch Bridge update. Let me move this off the screen over here on my right. And let's go to here now. So with all the strikes that Ukraine is doing, Moscow drones, the bridge, Chungar Bridge, of course, they had hit Kerch. Over the last few days, of course, prior week, 9 days actually, Russia been hitting the ports very hard. They adjusted their strategy. They adjusted their strategy and are now hitting cities. They're resting on the ports, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's see here. Yeah, they are stopping. I see your statement there, Ricochet. Where is it at? Sorry. Yeah, back to the Kerch, floating barrier to prevent USVs. Yeah, it's pretty safe. I mean, I saw that from Ansi, who would work on that bridge. It'd be hard to hit again right now. But who knows? I wouldn't want to be working on it either. But so Krvoy Rih, I'm going to talk to you about some of the cities that have been hit over the last 24 hours. Krvoy Rih, of course, the big one, was hit with 2 Iskander missiles. I have a picture of the Iskander system on the bottom left. Of course, it's on the portable truck. They carry a payload of 2. They fire off 2. Then, of course, they move for safety, all of that jazz. So that's what struck. Kryvyi Rih has been hit. Residences, an educational and science laboratory. This is a picture of Kryvyi Rih. Unfortunately, there was no air alarm. It just hit. So Ukraine missed it. Air alarm missed it. However, it happened. It was missed completely. No warning. I've got video of eyewitness reports, saying I was asleep and then my building just exploded. I made it out, but there was no warning, no alarm, nothing went off. It just happened. Also, I remind you that this is the home of President Zelenskyy. The numbers I have there, 675, 350, for me to remember when I'm live streaming. 6 people as of now have been killed, 75 people wounded. And the 350 is how many rescue workers were there cleaning, probably still cleaning, and putting the fires out, digging out the rubble, rescue, medical, fire, police, 350. It took 350 people to service those 2 missile strikes there from the Iskander. Now, Kryvyi Rih, I've got this right here. Here's some video from Kryvyi Rih. These are part of the 350. Some pictures. You may be there tonight going, okay, I see the direct strike and it's massive, of course, but then the pictures are showing like damage away. Is it that strong? Here's what I can tell you. I was in Pavlograd right here. Zhenya and I had been in Bakhmut area, and we were coming out, and we came down to Konstantinivka down here, and then we worked down through the line, and we came over to Pokrovsk, which is here. And the only place we could find to stay a night was a little place in Pavlograd right here. And that was the night an Iskander hit Pavlograd. And it was less than a kilometer from us. And, we have our documents and all that. So we were actually one of the first ones to get there. We had video of all of that early in the morning. But I can remember it. We'll always remember it. Janie and I traveling alone. We're in a little hotel room. It's got 2 single beds in it. It's about 5 in the morning. And all I can remember is the building shaking. It blew me out of the bed toward him. And I just remember as I'm kind of flying out of the bed, our beds were really close together. I slapped him. And I said, man, we've been hit. And he rolled over and it woke him up. He goes, oh, man. We got up, we got dressed. We realized it wasn't us that was hit. We got the media going, figured out it was about 800 meters from us as the crow flies. That's how strong these missiles are. So the shockwave of them, the blast of them, the repercussion, if the angle's right. I mean, I've been on my apartment in Khmelnytsky on the 6th floor, and we've had missiles hit on the other side of Khmelnytsky about 3 kilometers away, and our windows have rattled. And one of them bent our window frame, and we were 3 kilometers from the strike. So yes, it is that big. Huge hits. Now, I want to show you tonight also, it's not just Kryvyi Rih. Russia is going after all of these cities. The city of Sumy. We do not often talk about Sumy, but I will show you where it's at. Of course, here's the front line. We come over. Here's Kharkiv. And then if you just wrap up this, the city of Sumy is right here. So it's another close border city. It's not as close to the border as Kharkiv, which is here, but pretty similar. Some very northeastern regions of Sumy would be close to the border as well. I mean, just kilometers away. Kharkiv's so big, it's just the city reaches all the way up to the border, basically. Little wood line, and you're across the border. But Sumy, city of 260,000 people, it's got a very long border, as you can see here, with Russia. In fact, it has the longest border of any oblast or any region. Ukraine calls them oblast, but in English it would be region. It has the longest border of any region. I believe it's 564 kilometers long. We also have friends that we support. You guys support medics that are there on the front in Sumy, and Sumy is becoming quite ugly right now. I remind you, it was like 1 month ago, 3 weeks ago, that Ukraine told the civilians living along the border of the Sumy region, please leave. And they were even talking about forcing the evacuation. Then they changed their mind and said, no, we're not evil. We're not just going to come rip you out of your house, but we are strongly encouraging you to leave a 5-kilometer buffer from the border. Let our military get in there and defend our border. Well, we see now they knew what they were talking about. Sumy is being hit quite often. So downtown in Sumy, a school center, education center was hit. I've got video of that. 2 were killed. A teacher was killed. Here you can see the aftermaths of the hit. The logo on the bottom right says Nacionalna Policja, meaning National Police. This is their channel. Now, this is some daylight video. This is upper left. It says Radio Svoboda, or Freedom Radio. This is a school. Unfortunately, there, you can see the desk up there, top left, flag hanging. Under that rubble, they found a teacher just recently. I mean, within hours ago. So that's Sumy, beautiful city there, 260,000 people. Additionally, these are a couple of photos from the Sumy region. Typical Ukrainian home, typical village home, metal fence, the number right up by the door, that one's number 71, and the home that's probably 120 years old, 140 years old, brick. And these are just being destroyed left and right. Another picture. This is the Sumy region. You can see the older gentleman. Looking out the window. I know we have a lot of animal lovers in here that support the work of the stream. CZ, that's for you. There's a little kitty cat. And this is Sumy, 564 kilometers long on that border. Now, Kherson also hit today. You know, we try to remind every stream, Kherson, Kherson, Kherson. And because we're always talking about Kyiv or Odessa, maybe Dnipro or the battle in Bakhmut, but I just cannot reiterate. Kherson is our southern working base. We have a place that we stay that is 800 meters from the port, 800 meters from the river. I don't understand either why Kherson doesn't get the news out. I mean, they do, but the world doesn't hear about it. They just hear about these other cities. Every day, somebody's dying in Kherson. Yesterday, 4 people killed, 17 wounded, right downtown. Building struck. The thing about Kherson is this. Let's go here. Here's the deal about Kherson. I think this is the answer, to be honest. Kharkiv is here, off the border, close to Russia. You know, Liman, Kramatorsk, Konstantinivka, they're not big cities. Kramatorsk, pretty good size, 100,000, but it's not huge. Even Pavlograd, 150,000. Dnipro, 750 to 1 million. Kryvyi Rih, pushing 1 million. Mykolaiv, and then, of course, Zaporizhzhia, 1 million people. But the thing is, Kherson is so close to the front line that I guess it's just hit so much that the news doesn't come out about it. But I'm just here to tell you that Kherson is smashed every day. I can tell you, if you see this right here, Shevanivsky Park, that park right there, you see how close it is to the river. Where we stay is within 200 meters of that. That's when I'm telling you we're in Kherson, basing in Kherson, we're in Kherson. Now, where this was struck today with the people killed was right up here, right in the center, right there. So four folks killed and 17 wounded in Kherson. Kharkiv, 3 hours ago, right downtown, 3 drones hit. Now, I was talking about the air defense for Moscow, which I can't believe it gets through, but the same story here. Kryvyi Rih, air alarm didn't even go off. And now in Kharkiv tonight, the air alarm was too late and the air defense didn't get them. 3 drones hit right in that blue circle. It's public knowledge, so I can show it to you. That is some educational dormitory areas right where we stay. We actually stay over to the left of that a little bit in our place, but Kharkiv right there. Fortunately, as of right now, and I can check again right now, because it's fresh. Yeah, 1 wounded, 1 person wounded, 3 drones. So that's actually very, very good news. Now, so that's what's going on there with what Russia's doing. Ukraine coming out today, actually Malyar, the deputy or assistant defense secretary, and said, the last 48 hours, we have made adjustments on our port defense. Of course, I'm sure that's in reference to air defense placements and strategy for air defense, of course. But she said, last 48 hours, relatively quiet. Of course, we know. Russia knows we're adjusting our defense, so they will adjust their offense. But for the last 48 hours, overall, port been a little quiet. Now, speaking of ports, I can also tell you tonight, I got this from the IDF. Take it for old Israel, and you guys that love looking this stuff up and keep up with me. Israel broke through. They called it a breakthrough, but it wasn't really a breakthrough. It's not like they broke through a line of Russian ships, but Israel did today, within the last 24 hours, send a ship up the Danube River. And yes, if you were here a few days ago, I was showing you guys the Danube River flows right here on the border with southern Ukraine. So Israeli ship was going up into the port today there and went on through, made it through, no problem, but it did happen. So now Russia's attack on port cities. Remember, Russia is basically attacking Odessa and Belgorod, Dnestrovsky, and the Danube. That's all they have. That's all Ukraine has left, as you can see, because everything else is occupied or too dangerous. But Odessa, Belgorod, Dnestrovsky, and then, of course, up the Danube here. That's the three major port areas they have left. So this information is regard to that. Over the last 9 days, Russia has hit 26 port infrastructure facilities. They've hit 5 civilian vessels. You heard about that? And 180,000 tons of grain crops were destroyed. MFA of Ukraine, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, stated after withdrawing from the grain deal, Russia committed yet another series of war crimes by shelling Ukrainian port cities and grain warehouses. This is the summary of what they've done in 9 days. So it's kind of crazy, folks. Starlink, that is actually a box for Starlink. Right now, Ukraine is having 2 problems with Starlink. Number one, they're having some issues with Starlink themselves in regard to Elon Musk not supporting the flow of internet data within a certain range of the front line. It's a fact. Blocking the data. Not all. And if that data's blocked, Ukraine come out and said, if we don't have access to the internet, we may as well be fighting blind and deaf. We have to have it. United States today said that they would be supplying Ukraine with 500 Starlink kits. And this is pretty much the quote, that Elon Musk will not be able to block. You can look it up yourselves. It's the truth. So Russia on the right has developed a, what's it called? Mygar. I think it's Mygar or Mangar. Something like that. Drone system that is actually chipping away at Starlink. So they're being able to jam the Starlink signal. You know, this is why, and Mark McLaren, I see your comment here. That drone has came in reasonably low and slow. There's no reason air defense shouldn't have stopped it. No, there's zero reason that any drone should hit any building downtown Moscow. That is why I believe it's possible Russia is allowing it to happen. Because, listen, they're running such high-tech stuff on the front line, for example, to jam these Starlink systems. I mean, taking out a drone flying and you know it's coming from a long ways away, and come on, something's goofy. But USA responding, saying we're going to send 500 that Musk can't block, and I'm assuming they're going to be better equipped to be against the Russian hackers that is blocking out Starlink as well. Additionally, this is what Ukraine said today. There was, I'm quoting, a new batch of updated MiG-31s released from Nizhny Novgorod. Now, Nizhny Novgorod is a city, a military city. Airplanes are manufactured, they're repaired, they're retrofitted. So it said, coming out of Nizhny Novgorod is a new batch of MiG-31s, fully updated, fully serviced, and also retrofitted to be able to carry the Kinzhals or the hypersonics. So, Russia's bringing more airplanes with all the bells and whistles to front. Now, this interesting right here, I'll translate it for you. Well, Skeghead, that's my suggestion right there. They're absolutely going to gain public support by drones hitting downtown Moscow. No question. 100% they'll gain public support. So here we go. I'll translate this for you. 57 times there have been attacks on Crimea. 57 strong attacks against Crimea. You see the map there. On the left, you see the little red icon. It says Mitsia Udarev, meaning places that have been hit, places that have been struck. On the right, the little black box, it says Fortificazioni Spordui. That means fortified locations that Russia has in Crimea. So 57 times up to today, Ukraine has hit Crimea, whether it's Kerch Bridge, Changara Bridge, supply warehouses, Onyx missile supplies, whatever, airfields. Ukraine has hit 57 times. There are 530 fortified locations or targets, but they've hit 57. Over on the right, you have the chart showing how many times Crimea has been hit by month. It goes back to 06.22, which means June of 22. So in June of 22, Ukraine hit Crimea 3 times. Then you come forward, July, August, all the way up to July of 23. So 3 times, 1, 6, 2, 2, 5, 6, 1, February 23, 4, 6, 8 in March, April, and May. June, only twice, but look at July. They've hit 11 times. Why have they hit 11 times in July? Well, they've been resupplied. We have Storm Shadow missiles. We have, a counteroffensive going. So that number should be higher, and it is. So 11 times. Now, speaking of Wagner, Gen H, there was no resistance to Wagner either, though. That is true, but let me tell you, you can go back and watch. Thank you for being here, by the way, but you can go back and watch some streams from about 3 weeks ago. Wagner was pretty much staged. Yes, they lost some airplanes, some soldiers, but Wagner, interesting, your comment comes now when I'm speaking about Wagner, but Wagner was pretty much staged. Yes, it was ugly, but it was staged pretty much. As you can tell, over the weekend, Prigozhin was with Putin at the African Forum in St. Petersburg. So, but speaking of Wagner, you led me into that. Wagner has moved, you probably saw the headlines over the last 24 hours, 100 soldiers to the border with Poland, right on the border, folks. Listen, those Wagners are not going to cross that border. If they do, they're dead. Absolutely. They will be liquidated in a New York minute by Poland. But it draws attention. It creates a headline. It creates a story. And I have the Polish flag there and the Lithuanian flag there. Poland and Lithuania both are on the verge, on the edge of closing their border with Belarus. They both have borders with Belarus. So it's probably going to happen, especially if Wagner keeps messing around and pushing. And today, I didn't even show the video, but today, Lukashenko was flying in a helicopter over Belarus and he was inspecting his nation. It's the Soviet thing to do. You see Shoigu doing it all the time, flying and inspecting the troops. And then Lukashenko's on the phone and he's saying, I see Wagner nowhere where they're not supposed to be. Everything is good in Belarus. That's what he's saying. But Wagner, a few moved over to the border. I sent a couple clips from tonight's drone. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Hello, Mario Bernabe. So what does that mean? I will tell you this. Everybody's got to pay attention to it, though. That's the only reason. Ukraine has to pay attention. NATO has to pay attention. Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, those border nations, those Baltics, Estonia, they have to pay attention. And it keeps them in the headlines. Additionally, it also lets the other things that are connected unfold, whether it be the coup in Niger, the war in Sudan, the goings on in Syria, the grain deal. I'm telling you, it's all connected. I'm telling you, it's all connected. And we're going to see. Finally, I want to close out with this. Sergey. This is in Russian, and it's in Russian because they speak Russian. Sergey, как ты? Как ты? That means, how are you? Sergey, как ты? How are you? I released this video when I got it, actually, just a little while ago on Patreon. If you're not a member of our Patreon, I recommend it. That 1 cup of coffee a month, $5, goes toward guys that help me translate things and get stuff ready. And we bless people in Ukraine with it. But it's also a way we get information out and communicate. It's really good. It's in private messages and da-da-da-da. But Sergey Kokty, I've watched this video, I released it there, and I think it's safe to show on YouTube. So basically, you're going to see a little video here, Frontline. This is over in the Donetsk region. Incoming comes. There's nothing bad here, or I would not show it on YouTube. I'd be taken off. But incoming comes, Ukrainian soldier buried. What do his brothers in arms do? Of course, they unbury him, and it's really good. I mean, it's bad, but it's good. Nobody killed, nobody wounded. Ukraine, all the Ukrainians in it survive, healthy. I mean, they're still battling today, but as of that, all good. But it shows you reality on the front. About halfway through the video, 3/4, you'll hear another incoming. You'll hear it. It's got the whistle. But at the end, when they're running out, the guy that was digging out Sergey turns around and goes, Sergey, как ты? Meaning, how are you? He says, I'm excellent. Man, you were buried alive. Literally. And they got you out. And he's running down the trench going, I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I'll translate some of it for you, but you don't need it translated. And yeah, they're speaking Russian. Yeah. It's not about language, folks. It's not about language. Let's see here. Right here.
Я намагаюся, я копаю. Чекай, дай розкопаю. Все нормально, живий. Можеш рухатись.
Everything is okay. He's alive. He's okay.
Пацани, розкапуйте зі свого боку.
Come on over here. Let's get this guy. Praise God.
Серега, все нормально, сейчас вытащим.
He's telling him, Sergey, everything's okay. It's going to be okay.
Братан, давай. Пробуй шевелиться. Давай, братан.
He tells the guy that comes in, come on, hurry up, let's get him.
Скажи, пускай поможет нам, блядь.
Пошел.
Все, вперед туда.
Let's go, guys. There's the incoming.
Серега, ты как? Отлично. Нормально?
I just understand it. So it's so good. He'll say, Seryoja, ты как? He goes, отлично. Sergey, how are you? Man, I'm excellent. Right here.
Серега, ты как? Отлично. Нормально?
Отлично. The other thing you'll notice there, the guy's name is Sergey. So he turns to him and he says, Seryoja. Okay? What does Seryoja mean? Seryoja means you personal to me. Okay? Like my name actually is Gregory, but my friends call me Greg. So the same is there in that culture. You have a official name, and then you have a personal name. Your name could be Alexander, but your nickname is Sasha. So Sasha's personal. Your name can be Vladimir, like Putin, but your nickname is Vova. Sergei, Seryoja. It's a term of endearment. So he turns to him and he says, Seryoja, ты как? How are you? And he says, Я отлично. I'm excellent. And then he goes, Нормально. You okay? Yeah. And away they go. Folks, that's the heart of the Ukrainians, and that's what we stand for. But quite a day today. Quite a day. I'll check. Air raids are all quiet as we're closing out of here tonight. And that's live, 4:56 a.m., day 523. And let me do a check here. Same on Moscow. Boom, I can show you this. Let me do this. This is new. Right here. This is right here. That's the nighttime attack on Kharkiv I was talking to you about, right in that downtown area. The dormitories. You tell me, folks, how nobody died. One person wounded, and the top 2 floors taken out there by the drone. So thankful for that. So that's where we're at. Appreciate all of you guys. Be blessed. It is day 523. We'll see you in 48 hours, if not before. For those of you on Patreon, we'll see you there. Be blessed. Thank you for all that you do. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for continuing to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, all those things. We appreciate you. You guys be blessed. We'll see you in 48 hours, if not before. I think Jane, you'll be with me. He returned from the camp, I think tomorrow. So should have him here Wednesday. Be blessed. Good night.